Hey, it's Eric with VictorEric Design+Build. If you are thinking of doing a major renovation, especially one of a heritage home and in the city of Vancouver, we are going to share with you our latest project that we just finished on the west side of Vancouver. It was a single family 1930s home that we converted into a 6,000 square foot duplex. And there's lots of complications with heritage renovations and character home renovations. So we're going to introduce you to our project manager to talk about all that. Hi, it's Eric Lee with VictorEric Design+Build, and I am happy to introduce you to our project manager of this project, Valdez.
Hi, hi everybody.
Yeah, so we wanted to just have Valdez share a bit about the whole construction process. Before we do that, just wanted to introduce you to this project, which is a major renovation in the west side of Vancouver. What happened here was we had to add on top, probably doubled the floor plate on the second floor. The roof framing was very difficult. The foundation, only a small part of it was kept, maybe about 25% of it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then we expanded through the rest, pretty much gutted the whole house right down to the studs. When you do that kind of renovation, it takes a very solid team, someone who's experienced, preferably design, build, integrate together to work out all of the complicated details. This client came to us very early on, and the big debate here was they had an old house, 1930s, and they didn't know if they should build new or they should renovate. Originally, they were leaning to build new because it's quite a big house, and we warned them that it would be quite extensive if they wanted to upgrade this to modern house standards. But ultimately, they decided to renovate. And partly, I guess the major reason was because they wanted to keep the driveway into the garage. They had a front driveway. And in Vancouver, if you are building a new house, you are supposed to be using the back lane, which they have, to access your garage. They didn't want that. They liked the convenience of having the front driveway. So ultimately, they decided to keep the house as a renovated house in order to keep the driveway. That was a major driving factor. So yeah, now that's why we're here, and it's an interesting story. It's a couple that came to us. They had the house originally, her and her husband. They had kids, but they moved out, and they wanted to create a duplex, one more unit so that their son can come back and live right beside them, and that's what we created here. So let's jump a little bit into the details of what made this one so complicated. Why don't you share with us the foundation? I know that was a whole big part of it.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, like this was a major renovation. We had quite a bit of a trip to get to this point. There was only about 20% left from the existing house. Now we have a duplex, which is 6,000 square feet, yes, plus a 2-car garage. And yeah, we started with the demolition of the old house. We had to cut out most part of it, only 20% left. We had to cut the roof, we had to cut the house away from the foundation, lift it up a little bit so we can take out all the old foundation, do some excavation, do all the pipe work and all the coordination with the city. So that took a lot of effort to make that happen. But yeah, we made it happen, and now we're here.
So Valdez, I know a big part of this renovation and the big cost, and this is very typical of old homes, is the foundation. And like in the front corner, which is where all the existing foundation is, that 25% of the whole footprint is the existing. It was a very low ceiling height, right?
That is correct, yes. Yeah. So the ceiling height was one of the major factors that we had to do new slab and foundation there.
Yeah, and that's just a nature of old renovations. The old houses were always short, like 7 feet if you're lucky. But the remainder, 75% of the area that we expanded into, because so much of the walls changed, we took that opportunity to build up a new foundation anyways, put a new slab on. Tell me about the construction of that. That must have been very complicated to extend a new foundation into the existing one and to marry the two slab levels.
Yeah, that is correct. Like it was quite difficult. So because we also have the old house sitting on the existing foundation. So we had to work around that. Like we had to kind of cut the old house off the existing foundation, put it on scaffolding. And at some point, the old house was basically sitting in the air. And
yeah.
then we had the small excavator. We excavated all the underneath, and it was also very difficult to do since the ground was very hard and we had space only for very small excavator. So we spent a lot of time doing that. Once after the excavation happened, you were right, we needed to marry the new foundation and the new footing with the existing one, which is also a major thing to do, as the elevations don't match and the new footing and foundation is lower than the old one. So it took quite a bit of work and effort from different trades to make that happen.
Right. Yeah, and that's one thing that you should keep in mind if you're watching this and you're thinking about doing a renovation yourself, especially one of those major big renovations like this, is that don't expect it to be faster than a new house, right? You're thinking, oh, I'm keeping some of the house, why wouldn't it be faster? Because this is slow, tedious work. Like what Valdis was explaining, the existing slab or the existing joists, marrying up the new one, that's slow, very meticulous things that we can't rush into that. So allow more time for these things when you do these major renovations. And if you want to get a visual of what Valdis is talking about, where the part of the house was on scaffold just hanging in the air, you could click here. We have a video that we did where we completely lifted an entire house. Also a major heritage renovation in Vancouver. That house, we had to lift the whole thing, but you'll see that the house was sitting on these steel to wood scaffold. That's kind of what we're talking about. So you can get a appreciation for the complexity of what we're talking about here. Another thing that is often a tricky thing for old house renovations is, especially when you have so much ducting, is all of the ducts and everything in here. Now, what made it extra difficult here is we took a single family old home who typically had very shallow joist heights, not like the new house, and we split it into two families with two separate HVAC units. This is a heat pump home, so it's not radiant heat. Therefore, there's lots of ducts running everywhere. And now you have times two because there's two units, two machines, two sets of ducting, all of that stuff. Share with us how complicated that was in this house.
Yes, that was quite difficult. Multiple reasons for that. One is the main thing being is this mirroring again old house with the new house and creating a duplex where there used to be just one house. And the units, the air handlers are on one side of the house and we have to get all the ducts to the other side of the house for the second unit. So yeah, it took a lot of effort, not only from the framing crew and all the trades who run the ducts. Like we had to work together with designers, with the HVAC guys, with the framers. They were all on site at the same time. We were trying to figure out the best way and how we're gonna finish this up, because we don't want to have a random drops here and there. Like we have to make it look nice. So it was quite difficult to make that happen.
Yeah, and when you do get to that, make sure you align yourself with a good design team, because like Valdis says, it takes a lot of coordination between the HVAC trades, the framers, us, the designers, thinking about the final detail of the ceiling. Like this, actually all around this room, there's thoughtfully placed bulkheads and trims. That's actually to disguise all of the major ducts running through this floor. You would not notice it after you walk in because we had full intention in the beginning to coordinate all of that from a design build process. So that's very important. How about the floor level? I know that typically in old homes, floor levels in the old wood and settlement and all that stuff wasn't great. How was it for this house?
Yes, that was another major thing that we had to deal with. Once we built the new house up, like we had to match the existing flooring with the new floor, which was not easy. Old house had different levels, like different heights. We had to level all that up. We had to shim the joists. We had to do a lot of stuff to make it nice and smooth. That transition alone was a lot of work. Framers did a very great job doing that. They took their time. It was very time consuming, and you were right about the fact that renovation takes so much more time, because the framing on a typical house like this would take probably half the time what it actually took for us to do this. because yeah, all these small finicky details that we had to spend so much time.
Right. Another thing that actually added to the construction time of this house and was very complicated to coordinate was the big tree at the back. We had this big tree at the back. It's a beautiful site here, Westside Vancouver, tree-lined street, and we love that tree. It's nice and big, mature, beautiful addition to the site. But unfortunately, it was in the way with the hydro lines and such, and as much as we wanted to keep it, we actually had to remove it. And removing such a big tree in a renovation where the house is in the way, it's not like a new build where you just demolish a house, bring an excavator, cut the tree down, and that's much simpler. Here, it was right beside the hydro line. We had to get a very specialized company to remove that tree for us. One of only 3 in the city that did that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so share with us that whole process and what complications it added to the construction.
Yeah, so the tree right back there, it's sitting right next to the BC hydro line, and by the BC hydro requirements, there has to be a specific clearance for the electric lines coming into the house. So to meet those requirements, we had to take down the tree, and it was a multiple step process. It starts with a letter from the BC Hydro to explain their rules, to point out like we cannot have the electrical connection based on their rules. So then we have to involve the arborist, and arborist has to create a report based on that letter from the BC Hydro. After that letter, we have to submit to the city, and then the city can send us a revised drawings where it together with the permit to remove the tree. So that is a lengthy process. It takes a lot of time, takes quite a bit of effort, and again, like coordination between multiple people, multiple trades, and a lengthy process.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why our client came to us, because we have that experience working in Vancouver. We have a design-build team that can coordinate, and we're used to dealing with these extra complicated stuff that it just takes time to coordinate all the different stakeholders. So I guess just to end off, the main takeaway from this video is to help you as you're thinking about your next renovation project is a few tips, I guess. One is allow more time. The bigger your renovation, something like you're not doing just a simple bath and kitchen where you're adding to the house, the roof, the foundation, or lifting, or any part of that, make sure you leave more time. Don't fall into the fallacy of a new house where you're thinking, oh, it's gonna be faster than a new house. That's not the case. And then budget-wise too, it may not necessarily be much cheaper than a new house. This is something we can definitely help you if you're in the middle of a project and need some expert advice. Reach out to us. So another major takeaway is when you are taking on a project like this, make sure you have an experienced team by your side, especially preferably someone who has done his design build before, because it takes so much coordination. Someone who does major renovations before, because there's just so much experience. A new build or a spec type of new builder will not be able to do this level of major renovation. Other than that, any other final tip for people doing major renovations like this?
Final tip, I'd say, yeah, like the team. Whenever you choose a team for your, be it a new build or be it a renovation, choose a team that like you can trust and that has experience. Because with all these regulations going harder and harder every year, it's always good to have a great team around you, because you don't want that stress when you come home from work and deal with the stuff that like an inexperienced builder could bring to you every day. Whereas like if you have a team behind you, it will be stress-free and a lot more smoother experience for yourself.
Right. So with that, we'll end off. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it will help you in your journey of your renovated home. If you have questions, reach out to us. We are VictorEric Design+Build, and we create amazing spaces.